Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Best Bets. What is going on? I am Matt O'Leary, joined as always by Newsday's NFL pick columnist Joe Manniello. Joe, how are you?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Unfortunate, Joe. Tough week for the both of us last week. Almost an embarrassing level. 1-4 for me. 0-5 for you. We need to bounce back in a big way this week, Joe.
0-5, and I think 2-13 the last 3 weeks. So if anyone listens to this, hope you picked against me the last 3 weeks and maybe bought yourself a new car or something.
Oh boy! So it's time to bounce it back, and I think it's a good time too, with the Jets and the Giants going up against each other. The New York locals, we always pick them every week, but they're going against each other this week. The Jets are favored by 3 points in this game. What's your feel here?
Yeah, I mean, last week I got the Giant game wrong. In hindsight, probably should have taken the Giants. It was a good spot for them, but I like the Jets here a lot. I mean, this to me, it's just a perfect setup. They had the bye week last week, so they had a whole week to cool down from that great win against the Eagles. Then come back and focus on the Giants here. I don't think they're going to take this game lightly. I feel like their schedule sets up where they're 3-3. They have the Giants, and then they have the Chargers, and the Raiders. So I think 6-3 is more than realistic, and I think it's going to happen. And then they have, if you look at their schedule, I mean, 10 wins is definitely doable. So I think the Jets are in a great spot here. Give the Giants credit. The defense has played well. 14 points at Buffalo. Probably should have won that game. Last week, only 7 points, but their offense, as we know, is limited. And you saw what the Jets have done to the best quarterbacks in the league. Mahomes, Allen, and Hurts combined 8 interceptions. So whether it's Daniel Jones or Tyrod Taylor, I don't trust either of them against the Jets defense. Quincy Williams, to me, is having a monster season. He's my favorite Jets player right now, and they should Quinnen should give him some of his contract because he's definitely underpaid, only getting $18 million for 3 years, I think it is. So I just think the Jets team, Zach Wilson's always a question mark, but he's played better. The Jets just need to convert in the red zone. The red zone struggles coming back to bite them, but I don't think it will matter in this game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I have it 20-10. I think defense rules today, and I think the Jets get on a little run here after the bye. So Jets -3, 20-10 win.
Love it. Yeah, I'm in a very, very similar spot with you in this one. I'm going to take the Jets as well. And, historically, it hasn't been very good for the Jets coming out of the bye. I think they're 1 for their last 10 coming out of the bye, which is just horrific. But obviously a bunch of different regimes over that time, a lot of different matchups, and just, there's a lot of bad teams mixed in there. But for this Jets-Giants game, the Giants' defense has significantly improved the last 2 weeks, and they love to, get pressure on the quarterback, which worries me a little bit with Zach Wilson, but I would expect this to be a big Breece Hall day. I think they're going to really lean on him, and the Giants' defense has kind of struggled against the run at times this year. And even though the Giants' offense has looked a little bit more competent the last few weeks under Tyrod Taylor, they've still only scored 9 points and 14 points. So I don't think they're going to have enough offensively, and that's kind of crazy to say against this Jets offense that's really struggled, but I think you're looking at like a 19-13 game, like a really low scoring, a lot of field goals. I think it's going to be, tight. I don't think any team's, going to crazy run away with it, but I think this Jets defensive line too against a makeshift Giants offensive line could be tough for whether it's Daniel Jones or Tyrod Taylor. I mean, in the past, when he was up in Buffalo, Tyrod played the Jets pretty tough, so that's kind of hanging over me a little bit. But I'm with you. I don't think it matters too much if it's going to be Tyrod or Daniel Jones. I like the Jets in a low-scoring defensive battle here in this one. All right, so we're going to do things a little bit different this week. There's no really game jumping off where it's like an obvious game of the week. So instead, we're going to do 3 picks. We'll call them our 3 best bets, and we'll stick with an underdog. What's one of your best bets this week, Joe?
Well, my best bets this year have been awful, 1-6. So if you're listening up, write it down and go the other way. So there's one game sometimes I look ahead at the schedule. You probably shouldn't do that, but sometimes you just kind of want to see, what's going on next week? Because some of these weeks haven't been that great as far as the matchups. So one game that jumped out to me 2 weeks ago, looking at the schedule, Texans at Carolina. Texans are off a bye here, and to me they've been one of the best coach teams in the league. D'Amico Ryan's first year, former 49ers defensive coordinator, similar to Robert Saleh. This team is really playing for him, and if you've seen some of the post-game locker room speeches, you can kind of feel like this young team, they're going to be a surprising team the whole year. They're not going to be a 4-win team as most expected, 5-win team. So they're off a bye here. As the number 1 pick, Bryce Young, and number 2 pick, C.J. Stroud. Stroud has played brilliantly. Young has struggled. Frank Reich Panthers coach handed off the play calling duties. To me, it's not a good sign. And I just feel like this is a good spot for the Texans. They're on the road favorites, but the Panthers have just been awful. They're 0-5-1 against the spread. And, my luck, they'll have a great game this week. But 2 weeks ago against Miami, they were getting 13.5. I had them that game, trying to go contrarian. They were getting 13.5 points, jumped out to a 14-0 lead. So they were up 27.5 to nothing on the spread line. And they still lost. They still didn't cover. So that tells me if they can't cover that, like, when is this team going to cover? And I just like what the Texans are doing. Stroud looks like a veteran. Defense isn't great, but I think they're good enough. And they beat the Steelers by 24. They're playing really well. So I just think this is a good spot for them. It's going to be close because it's the NFL. I think they could win this game by a touchdown. So Texans -3.
Yeah, I like the Texans a lot this week too. I think this is a good spot for them. I was surprised that they're kind of only getting 3 here, but for me,
giving 3.
Giving 3. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. For me, I'm gonna go with the Colts here, getting 1.5 as my best bet going up against the Saints. I think Gardner Minshew has actually played pretty well in relief of Anthony Richardson. They put up a ton of points last week. Probably should have won that game. It was a crazy ending. And really, outside of that Patriots game for the New Orleans Saints, their offense has really, really stunk. They have not looked good. Derek Carr hasn't looked like the same guy this year than what he was in years gone by with the Raiders. And not that the Colts defense is all that great. They're ranked fairly low, but I think they're going to be able to put up points even up against this Saints team. And I just don't know if Derek Carr and the Saints right now are going to be able to score and keep this one close. I think the Colts are a live dog here. I think they could win a 24-17 kind of game, a little bit more on the lower scoring side, but Saints have really, really struggled to get anything going on the offense. And they have weapons, too. That's the scary part. Chris Olave, or maybe not, after recent things with Olave, but Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. And, they always use Taysom Hill. But it's been weird for them. Everyone thought they were probably going to win the division in the South, and they've got off to a terrible, terrible start. And I think that continues against the Colts this week.
This is a weird game for me because I haven't picked the Saints all season, and I'm 0-7 in the Colts games.
Oh,
but I actually took the Saints. I feel like the defense is the best matchup, but I don't feel good about this game at all.
All right, there we go. Let's get to what's your next one up here.
All right, another best bet: Lions Monday night at home, giving 8.5 against the Raiders. To me, this is one of the easiest picks of the year, which is never a good sign. But this is the Lions' first Monday night game at home since the Sam Darnold debut back in 2018. So I just feel Dan Campbell will have his team revving to go after last week's humiliating loss at Baltimore, 38-6. I think it's a good spot for Detroit to bounce back here. The Raiders are a joke. I mean, they lost to the Bears last week, and they weren't even competitive in that game. And I hate that I was like talked myself into picking them last week too, but just couldn't take the Bears because of their quarterback. Wasn't sure what would happen. But the Lions, to me, this is just a great matchup. The Raiders, 8.5 feels like a steal almost. I think this is a runaway victory, like 34-17, 34-10. One of those games where it's not even that close. It's just a young team like the Lions. Everyone was crowning them. So they're my NFC champion pick. So I was on them before the year, but everyone was buying into them after the 5-1 start. And last week, the game was they were down 28-0 before they even had a first down. And I like taking it. To me, they're still a good team, and I still think they're going to be the 1 seed. If you look at their schedule, they have a really easy schedule. So they go on a run here. I like taking a good team off a bad loss at home Monday night. I think it's a really bad spot for the Raiders. So I think the Lions roll -8.5.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think it's a good bounce back spot, and the Raiders look really brutal right now. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep this one very close. I agree. I think that's a blowout potential. For my second one, I'm going to go with the Vikings -1.5, and their defense has looked pretty good the last 2 weeks. They had a nice game against the 49ers and a big upset win there. But looking at the Packers, who I stupidly picked last week, I am fading the Packers hard right now. They've scored 20 points or less in 4 straight games. The offense has not looked the same after those first 2 games. And to me, this is more of an anti-Packers pick. With their offense just looks lost right now. And obviously Jordan Love getting his first real shot here, so there were going to be some bumps in the road. But Vikings started off terrible, but they were in tight games pretty much the whole way, and now it feels like they're digging themselves out of it and gaining some momentum here. I think they continue to roll and look good, even though it's on the road, it's up in Lambeau, but I think they're the significantly better team, and I think they win this one. So I'll take the Vikings in a 24-14 game.
I like the Vikings too.
All righty. So what is next up on the slate for you?
Here's another game, kind of similar to your anti-Packers pick. This is more of an anti-Chargers pick. Bears plus 8.5 Sunday night. I don't know why this game wasn't flexed out of prime time.
Yep.
But Bears or Chargers. To me, the Chargers shouldn't be favored 8.5 against anyone except maybe Carolina. But I went back and looked since the start of the 2020 season. 56 games. Tyrod Taylor actually started the first game, but Herbert played from the second game on. I'm including the first game. So 56 games since 2020. They've only won by 9 or more points 9 times. So to me, it's like, why are they giving 8.5 points? They never blow anyone out. It's always a close game. It's always, fourth quarter down to the wire. And the Chargers, I mean, they're one of these teams. They have a really good, we thought he'd be better by now, quarterback, Justin Herbert. They have playmakers, but I don't know if it's the coaching or the defense, the injuries, combination of all three. They're just underachievers, in my opinion, and they should not be giving 9 points. This Bears team has a little mojo with Tyson Bagent, the underdog QB story that no one knows about. And I, kind of like the Brock Purdy type, but even more unknown, more irrelevant. But I just don't think 9 points is way too high. I saw that spread and I couldn't believe it. But I think it should be more like 6.5 or something. So I think the Bears will be in it. I mean, they can lose 24-17 kind of game. The Chargers almost lost to the Raiders a couple weeks ago with rookie quarterback starting Aiden O'Connell, and I just don't trust the Chargers. I mean, they never blow anyone out, and I just don't see why they're just going to beat the Bears by what? Why are they that much better than the Bears? I mean, on paper, I guess, but the NFL, it's all between the white lines. So I like the Bears to keep this close. I wouldn't be shocked if the Bears won.
Yep.
So I don't think they will, but I think the Chargers will win 24-20 kind of game, even 27-20, then you still cover. So I look at 8.5 points from the Bears.
Yeah, that number is way too high. I'm with you on that one. For my final best bet here, I'm going to go with the Seahawks minus 3.5. They are hosting the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are 0-2 against the spread on the road this year. They played a lot of home games so far early on in their season. But I know they scored a bunch of points this past week against Indianapolis. That was just such a really weird game, but I don't know if they're going to be able to keep pace offensively with the Seahawks rather, who have looked a little bit better this year. The Seahawks defense has come alive the last 2 weeks. They started a little bit slow, but 3 straight games of holding opponents under 20 points. I think they are able to hold the Cleveland offense under 20 points. And I think Geno Smith and the Saints are good to get over that mark. 23-16, something like that, a little bit on the lower scoring side, but I don't really trust this Browns team having to travel and play in that building. It's a tough place to play. You're on your backup quarterback or potentially even third string quarterback, but they've hung tough, but I don't think they get it this week on the road in Seattle.
This to me has the potential to be the wackiest game of the week. I actually like the Browns.
Okay.
I mean, I picked the Seahawks before the year to go to the championship game, NFC championship game, but they're a weird team. Like, they have all the talent, but they don't seem to blow anyone out. The Arizona hang around the whole game, and I don't know. The Browns, their defense, and even though last week they didn't play well, but I just feel like this is a game they're going to steal on the road. But I think it's going to be a wild game.
Okay, there we go. And finally, we will get to the underdog pick of the week. Who's an underdog you like?
This is a team I usually get wrong. I don't really like taking them, but something jumped out to me. It's Mike Vrabel. I'm picking the Titans plus 2.5 at home. They're off a bye 2 weeks after the London loss to Baltimore. I picked the Falcons before the year to win the division, and last week I picked against them. I mean, they play well. I give them credit, but I don't know. It just seems like a spot where you pick against the Titans and they play well. Like a few weeks ago, they beat the Bengals 27-3 at home. They're a hard team to figure out.
Yep.
Rookie Will Levis is going to probably start, and also Malik Willis is going to play. Vrabel's going to do like a dual quarterback thing, which I think kind of weirdly might work. Keep the defense off its toes, off balance. But Vrabel, since he's become the coach in Tennessee, 2018, so 5 seasons so far, 5-0 after the bye, and every win except for one is double digits. And I'm talking big wins. They beat the Bills by 26. They beat the Cowboys on the road by 14. Jaguars by 22 or something like that. Just crushing team. So I don't know. Whatever he does during the bye week, I'm buying it. So I just think it's a good spot. Like, I feel like the Falcons, they're more of a home team. And last week was the first time Desmond Ridder has won on the road. So I'm not really sure if they're going to win back-to-back road games here. I mean, they can. The Titans are a great team. They just traded Kevin Byard, the top safety. But I don't know. Something about this dual quarterback thing and Vrabel's bye week. I feel like it's one of those games I normally wouldn't take. So I'm kind of going against the grain a little bit. But I think it's a good spot, actually. So I'm going to take the Titans plus 2.5. I think they win the game. Like a slugfest 19-17 kind of game.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really have a great feel for that one. I'm taking I'm taking the Falcons kind of reluctantly. I don't really love either side, but I'm probably going to go with the Falcons in that one. For me, I'm going to go with the Steelers here, plus 2.5. They are taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I gave you the stat a few weeks ago, but it's even been updated since then. The Steelers, and specifically Mike Tomlin as a home underdog, 17-5-3. They are 15-10 straight up as a home underdog, and this is one where I think they could win this game. I know Jacksonville's had some big wins already early on this year. Beating Buffalo in London was a big one, but I think the Steelers' defense is really coming alive. That pass rush is just absolutely nasty, and they're never going to be a team that's going to score a bunch of points, but I think they're going to keep this one close, and another kind of close, low-scoring, back-and-forth game. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Steelers end up winning like a 23-20 kind of game. This happened against the Ravens a few weeks ago. We were on that one, and I think they do it again and win here against Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, the logic is there with Tomlin. I get it, but I like the Jaguars only because I just don't trust this Steelers offense.
Yeah, that is totally fair.
And a weird thing, too, I wrote my column last week, Al Michaels, he pointed out, This is the Jaguars' only game in like a 23-day span. They played Thursday night, they had extra rest, and then next week they're on the bye. So I feel like they're putting all their eggs into the basket for this game. I think they'll be ready. But, it's going to be close because the Steelers always play well at home.
There we go. All right, let's run through these real quick. The Jets and the Giants are playing this week, the Battle of New York. Both Joe and I are on the Jets -3. My first best bet, I'm going with the Colts plus 1.5 against the Saints. Texans -3 for Joe. Second best bet, Vikings -1.5 for myself against the Green Bay Packers. Lions -8.5 on Monday Night Football against the Raiders. Seahawks -3.5 for me at home against the Cleveland Browns. Joe's going with the Bears plus 8.5 against the Chargers. And finally, underdog picks, Titans plus 2.5 in Will Levis's debut for Joe. And for myself, I'm going with the Steelers plus 2.5 at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Joe, hopefully we have some better luck this week. Thank you for
5-0.
Yes, flip it this way.
Thanks, man.